I bet I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Yeah. Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Dollar, dollar.
There we have it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Gritty Gamblers. I'm Parlay Joe. I'm your host today. And we're talking last week, week 2 college football, and week 1 NFL. Let's go. We got Monday Night Football tonight. How we doing, everybody? What's up, Joey?
Doing good, man. Tough weekend, tough Saturday, decent Sunday. I mean, football's back, so can't complain too much. But doing well. I mean, this weekend it was tough because Saturday didn't do so well. I feel like the old saying is win everything on Saturday, lose it all on Sunday. But for me, it was the opposite. So I was kind of happy yesterday. Good NFL Sunday, but definitely some bad beats this week, man.
Yeah, I definitely felt the bad beats. Definitely feel the lose it all on Sunday. Did a little bit of that myself. Didn't lose it all, but kept a little bit. Okay. All right, William, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, boys? Yeah, kind of like Joey said, like Saturday, I went 3-3, not bad, just kind of like right down the middle. But on Sunday, I went 3-1, so I had a lot better day than I did on Saturday. So, can't complain. I'm in the positive, so I'm not complaining about it. But yeah.
I feel that. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this started. Let's what all did you guys bet on this week that you won in college football, and what games did you see? I'll start. I won. I put money on Texas, man. I can't say I didn't, but I mean, I'm an Alabama fan, but you gotta be smart. You gotta still horns down, but you gotta. You can't bet on your team, man. Smart man don't bet on their team. But
I'm not a smart man, by the way. I bet on my team, and I bet the under, which was just a tough game to watch. It was brutal, but good hit on that Texas. I mean,
no matter what, honestly.
Yeah.
But then that night I did have a little parlay. Had a Cincinnati Reds plus 1.5. I had Oregon and Texas Tech. I had Texas Tech plus 7.5, which did not hit.
I had that too.
My other play on that one did hit. I forgot what it was right now, but so that was. I would have been up a lot if that parlay would have hit. That would have been a great Saturday, on top of the loss, which was kind of hurting. But we'll learn. We'll keep going. We'll move on to the next week. What about you, Joey? How you feel after Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously that Bama game was tough. I had a -7. I had the under too, which that didn't last very long. I think it was just one of those games where I looked at it and I was like, Alabama's going to run the football. They got a great defense, and everything just went to shit early. Like, it was not.
Yeah.
Texas.
It was like week 1 was just fluke, honestly.
It really was, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be or not. But I knew Jalen. I didn't really have that much confidence in Jalen Milroe. They stacked the box against him.
Yeah,
he couldn't. It's the intermediate throws. He doesn't do the quote unquote quarterbacking well, where he reads the defense, finds goes through his reads. He's just kind of a one read guy. Kind of great athlete, but
great
when they stack the box against you, it didn't work out well. So Texas kind of had their way. Credit to Ewers too. I mean, Quinn Ewers was like incredible. I didn't think he was going to take that step up, but he was good. Probably midway through the fourth quarter, when it kind of felt like it was like over, I was kind of flipping back and forth with that Oregon Texas Tech game. I had Texas Tech plus 6, I think, and that was down 30-28. I thought it was good. Or sorry, they were up 30-28. I thought it was good when they were like up 10. I think second half. And then somehow, fourth quarter, they're up 30-28. Oregon gets a field goal, 31-30. I think it was, what was it, like a minute left? They pick 6. All of a sudden, they're up 8. I'm like, what, And so that was just kind of a tough way to end the night. I started good with Colorado, though. I mean, that was a sick game for them to beat Nebraska. I started good with them, and the rest of the day was tough. So,
yeah, I took Nebraska too. I believed all season in Colorado and Dion, but I thought they'd probably get the the Vegas would get them in week 2, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But one more thing about Bama, William, you can tell me about this, but I've been watching a little bit of Auburn lately, and they're running a 2-quarterback system.
Yeah.
And it looks really good, and it's something that I'm thinking Alabama should be thinking about, honestly.
Who would you want your second quarterback to be for Bama, though? Because you have Ty Simpson, right?
Nah.
I think Ty Simpson wouldn't really fit that role, right? I mean, I haven't been watching Auburn, so I don't know what that system.
I'm not
looks
saying
like,
Ty Simpson plays the Robbie Ashford role. I'm saying Ty Simpson just comes in for a change of pace, maybe, or maybe the Notre Dame kid that y'all got in the transfer portal.
Yeah, I like Buckner. I think the Notre Dame guy. I think our Tommy Reese wants him to believes in him, but I don't know.
I do think it's interesting though, because Reese came in, Buckner came in, and you kind of assume okay, he's going to bring in his guy for his offense, but that's not really how Alabama rolls, because they bring in so many coordinators. The coordinators come in and learn their offense rather than bringing their own. So the fit, on paper it makes sense, but for this situation, it just wasn't. Now Reese has to learn the new offense, and then Buckner has to learn the new offense. So it's really favored Milroe and Simpson from the start. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I like Milroe. It's hard to, he's good, he's okay, but it's
he's athletic.
They kept showing it, and it was frustrating because they had great, Bryce Young, Mac Jones, Tua, Jalen Hurts, and then you have a mediocre guy, and all of a sudden it's
and the defense is.
I'm not out on Milroe though by any means. Even as an Auburn fan, I think he has tons of potential to develop, because we saw him in week 1. Again, granted, Middle Tennessee State, not a great opponent, but we saw him throw the ball deep a few times. So he has a cannon of an arm, and his problem is the short to intermediate routes. That's where he struggles. And if he can develop that, he can be a very good quarterback for Bama. What is he, a sophomore? A freshman?
I think he's a sophomore, yeah.
He's redshirt.
Okay, so he's a sophomore, right?
Sophomore. Yeah.
And let's say he develops, he could be good for y'all for this year and then the next year. I'm still not sold. I'm not kicking him out yet. He has a chance, especially this year in the SEC when there's Georgia than everybody else. Alabama's still very much in play to win the West, because LSU didn't look incredible. Texas A&M just got blown out by Miami. So who knows? The SEC West could come down to the Iron Bowl at the end of the year. It could. We don't know that. And I'm not super high on Auburn yet either, because after this week we have to go all the way to College Station, and I know they just lost to Miami, but that's such a hard place to play.
Yeah.
I think realistically, especially with LSU losing, the West is should be pretty easy for Alabama to win. That's the thing, is it's the same as the Tennessee game last year. When they lost the Tennessee game, didn't matter that much in the big picture because they could still win the West. Then they lost to LSU on that last minute 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And that's what killed their season. So as long as they can take care of the West, they should, be teams. And like you said, it honestly might come down to the Iron Bowl, because obviously, Bama's had the upper hand on them in the past, but if they do win the rest of their games and Auburn, keeps building on what they're doing, it's okay, now that's going to be the determinant if they're going to get into the SEC championship. And if they get into the SEC championship, now they can earn their way into the playoff all of a sudden. So
because
it's not
two things about the Iron Bowl.
Two
things about the Iron Bowl real quick. Nick Saban, let's say Auburn has 8 wins by that time, right? Yeah. Nick Saban has never beaten an 8-win Auburn team in Auburn in his whole career at Bama from 2007 until now. He's never won. So if I'm an Alabama fan and Auburn's there and they're 8 and whatever, I'm nervous. I'm extremely nervous, going into that environment and saying, okay, and this all depends on Jalen Milroe. If Jalen Milroe takes that step, I'm less nervous. But if he plays like he did versus Texas, Auburn could definitely beat Alabama this season, because I know it's Cal. It's not a super talented opponent. They have a great running back that we contained pretty well. But that Auburn defense looked legit in that game. It looked like gangbusters. This is one of the best defenses I've seen in a while, probably since the 2019 defense that had Derek Brown.
Right. Nice. No, I mean, I think it's going to be – I'm going to keep betting on Bama for, in good spots. I'm going to try and pick and choose a little more. But I think now they might be a little underpriced, and
I was thinking the same thing today.
I've always felt that way. Like the SEC hasn't had a great start to the year compared to like the Pac-12's undefeated week 1. And then, so there's certain conferences that have actually been better. But I always, if it's a toss-up or if it's close, I always lean with the SEC. I think they'll be okay. I think, I'll probably still bet on them a bunch. But
yeah, and Georgia hasn't good either.
You got it. You got it.
No,
Go ahead.
I was going to say Georgia hasn't looked good. And, sorry, a spot to look at is if Auburn, obviously they're going to be Sanford. If they go in, they beat Texas A&M College Station. They're undefeated at home versus Georgia.
Right.
In a rivalry game. There hasn't been a rivalry since 2017 when they blew out Georgia. So
we beat them 41-17. We annihilated them that game.
Exactly. Stuff I've been saying this all season. Crazy stuff happens in Jordan Hare, and it's going to be crazy. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. And all this losing is just going to keep moving the line a little bit. It's just going to keep making it a little bit, better price, better, So
I think most everyone takes a loss this year. Right. I think we're going to see chaos.
Yeah, no, I think so too. I think college football is more balanced than it's ever been. With the transfer portal and everything,
NIL is just taking over.
Yeah.
If you jumped on it, you're succeeding right now.
Yeah.
Speaking about Bama, I had them -7 as well versus Texas because I saw that Nick Saban in his time at Bama, his win-loss record is nuts. At home, it's almost like they haven't lost a non-conference game since 2007 against Louisiana Monroe, and since then they've been perfect at its non-con at home. So that's why I was like, I'm backing Bama here -7. I get they have Quinn Ewers, Xavier Worthy, all these talented playmakers, but still Bama at home. And I still think Bama is Bama. Now, obviously, they still are. They're not having a far drop-off or anything. The dynasty's not dead like people want to say. That's a dumb thing to say. They're still a very good program. But I didn't think Texas would win that. I thought Bama would cover by a good bit. Honestly, probably 2 scores. I was wrong, clearly. I'm happy I'm wrong, but, I didn't get that one right.
Yeah. No, I think it says more. I think it honestly says more about Texas. It does say something about Bama and their offense not being, not clicking, but I think it says more about. I think Texas might be a real, playoff contender. So
they're the real deal in the Big 12 right now. They're a big deal.
Yeah. No, they should win that conference. I think
easily.
That
Especially once they get past Oklahoma, it should be flight.
Right.
Free sale.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's any other games you guys want to talk about from college football that you guys liked?
Last week or the upcoming week?
Last week.
One game another game that didn't go well for me, which I don't think it was their fault. But I took NC State +7, which I thought was a sketchy line. I was worried.
Yeah.
Notre Dame should blow them out. They played them great in the first however long they played before the weather delay hit. The delay was 2-3 hours. It was, but I don't know if you guys saw this. Notre Dame they started to get hungry because they were in a delay for a couple hours. They started sending their assistant coaches to the concessions to bring them hot dogs. So they were shoveling hot dogs into the locker room for Notre Dame. They were looking, doing all the chalkboard stuff, know what NC State's throwing at them. Half the crowd leaves from NC State. And then Notre Dame comes in and absolutely whoops them. It takes control of the game. It takes over, and it wasn't even close. So I'm looking at it like this delay, and then see what NC State threw at them so they could adjust a little more. The crowd wasn't there. It was, it's just a bad set of circumstances, I think. Notre Dame plays better when they run the ball, bad conditions. Mm-hmm. So that was another game I lost at NC State.
I still think you were on the right spot on that play.
I felt like they had a chance, and then the whole thing got sucked out of them. And they were close. They played them close. I think they were within a touchdown pretty much the whole first quarter and a half, I think they played before the delay. So, yeah, it was just, like I said, bad Saturday. So that was the only other one I wanted to talk about.
See, I want to continue on that game because I actually grabbed Notre Dame -7. Because I was nervous doing that because Sam Hartman, when he was at Wake Forest, he struggled against NC State in his career. He was 1-2 against them. His stats were bad compared to the other teams he played. But my thought process was like, okay, I think he's a good quarterback. I trust him. And now he has more talent around him than he's ever had. He has a consistent run game. And Notre Dame defense can make plays. So that was my thinking. Just like, I think Notre Dame -7 feels like a pretty good pick. Just because I think Hartman's good, like I said. And I don't know. I went with my gut on that one. I almost put NC State +7, but I don't know. I just felt like that was the right pick to pick Notre Dame for that one.
I agree on that.
Yeah, it worked out. That's a great win.
Yeah, but I had Oregon -6.5 and it's such a set. So I was on the opposite side of what y'all like pitched for that one too. So I was literally heading home, like just walking back, and I was on FaceTime with my buddy because I was trying to get him to show me their game, and like I see Oregon run back this pick 6, and I'm like, oh crap, they covered the spread. I'm like, they're up 8. So I got a few good breaks this week going my way, and again, it was a decent week college football, but I did a lot better NFL this week. I hope to improve on college football next week though.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of NFL, what bets did you have in NFL that hit this week, William?
I went 3-1 on Sunday. Actually, I had a Jags -5 over the Colts. I kind of got lucky with that one because unfortunately Anthony Richardson went down with that injury in the red one. It looked like they were about to score. And then I had Falcons 3.5 versus Panthers. I picked those two, the Jags and Falcons. I'm like, I don't trust rookie quarterbacks week 1. Their record week 1 is awful. I'm not going to bet against it. And like the last 2 guys that were drafted first overall, and Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence, they both lost their week 1 openers like against the spread and just straight up too. So I was like, okay, I think Bryce will be good. He needs time to develop, but week 1 he's going to struggle, and he did. He had 2 interceptions, and he just let a rookie, which he's still figuring stuff out. So I felt about that one. Then I had a Dolphins money line at the Chargers. I just felt good about the Dolphins. Chargers are too inconsistent for me. Like they're a good team, but they just can't consistently win games. And the lone loss I had on Sunday was the Commanders -4 in the first half against the Cardinals. I really thought they'd be up by 7 or more. I was just a believer in Sam Howell and that defense for the Commanders, and I thought Cardinals were going to stink, which they do stink, but they played their heart out to that game. For credit to them and Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that game, honestly. I stayed away from that game, but I thought Washington too. I kind of just got worried right at the last second. I was like, I don't want to bet on a bad team, which I think Washington is, but I was shocked at how close they kept that game. Maybe the Cardinals defense really is what, like, they're not that bad. That's what kept them in the game, low scoring game.
Yeah.
So, but I stayed away from that one. The best one, the one I was most confident about, I actually picked in my survivor pool, was the Falcons. Yeah. Like you said, I thought Bryce Young played pretty well in the beginning of that game, but those first round, those number 1 overall picks, or first round quarterbacks in general, they just don't play well in their first game. Well, not even that, they just on a bad team usually. So the Falcons played well. I thought Ritter was pretty solid. I was happy with that pick. I think they won by 2 touchdowns. That was probably my best one of the day. I was on Indy too against the Jets. I don't know. It was just one of those things where I came off a bad college football Saturday. I wanted to try and stick with the sharp money. A lot of sharp money on the Colts for some reason. I was like, okay, I think they, maybe they have a chance to get close, and they did. And I thought they should have
played well.
I thought they should have won that game. Honestly, I thought the Jaguars weren't really. That offense was good in the beginning, but they weren't like humming like they could. They weren't scoring touchdowns. So I was like, okay, they have a chance. And unfortunately, Richardson threw that interception at the end of the game when they got the ball back.
That's what sealed it.
A young guy, you can't expect too much. That's what's going to happen when you bet on a guy that's a younger guy. They're going to make mistakes, so it sucks. But I still felt good about that pick overall. It just didn't come to fruition. I had a good day over. I think I went 4-2, capped it off with the under in the Giants-Cowboys game. The only reason I was even watching that game towards the end was just to hope it stayed under, which it did. But that was just an atrocious game.
Yeah, I slept right through that game, honestly.
Yeah, I don't blame it. It was bad.
So I will say I was on a good side of a couple bets. Missed one leg in the parlay. Had New England +5.5. They covered. They lost by 5. Titans by 4.5. They won, or they lost by 1. And then Bucks +6, which they covered. And then I had Texans +10.5, which was blown out the water.
I had that one too, actually. The Texans, man, that was. I don't know how like their defense played great. The Ravens didn't. They looked rusty, like they weren't right, and I just don't. I don't know how they didn't. I know the Texans are a bad team, but that was another one of those games similar to the Colts where I was like, they should be in this game, but they have a young quarterback who's not, moving the needle, and that was a frustrating one to watch for sure.
Yeah, after this week, it looks like Ohio State quarterbacks really aren't that good. Maybe.
Right? Maybe, yeah.
I
We always go
Hurts
back
is
to
really
right, man.
struggled a lot versus Green Bay, but
Yeah.
if Jordan Love looks like the real deal. We'll
He
have to
looks
see
good,
week
man.
2.
Yeah.
They're
Here's
out.
my thing about Love. It's too early to put like a consensus out. Oh, he's good or he's bad. But my thing is the Bears defense made him look very good because we allowed them to run the ball, and he had so many like wide open throws to guys that were just so clearly open that most NFL quarterbacks should hit that. Nothing against Love. He had a great game. They beat our eyes out. But I don't know where I lean on him yet. If he's like franchise guy or a guy that's not very good. I don't know where I am yet. I need to see more of a sample size. That was only his second start ever. So, but props to the Packers. They beat our ass for 4 quarters.
Yeah, I've seen. Speaking of seen enough or not, I think I've seen enough on Anthony Richardson to know he's going to be the next stud of the Indianapolis Colts.
I think he's gonna be good.
I'm pretty
I'm
excited.
a believer.
I might be
stay
a little
healthy.
bit of a homer, but I love it, man. I love what
Yeah.
he's bringing to the table. It's awesome being able to run the football with a quarterback.
Yeah,
And if we
it's
can
tough.
add
I mean,
Taylor in week 5, man, oh man, are we going to look good.
those read options will be big, and they have to run them. Like if they don't run them, similar like the Bears didn't want to run Fields for some reason. They
Yeah.
didn't want to. There wasn't a lot of design runs. Like when you have a guy that's a great athlete, like you have to take the risk of because otherwise you're losing, that whole skill set. You
Yeah,
can't just rely on them to scramble. They need to have design runs. Take advantage of that. And look, if he gets hurt, you're taking that risk. But yeah, they
You
have
just
to.
took the
Richardson
words
and Fields
right
have
out of
to
my
win.
mouth. Like,
Yeah,
I'm so tired of Luke Getsy. Like, if we don't look better against Tampa Bay next week, I'm out on him because Fields' 2 biggest skills are his running ability because he's a freak athlete and his deep ball. He's shown his deep balls insane since he was at Ohio State. You go turn on Ohio State highlights of Justin Fields. Granted, it's college, but his deep ball is one of the prettiest balls I've ever seen. Like, it's nuts. It's insane.
Yeah.
But we refused to. We didn't even do that maybe but once. The lone Darnell Mooney touchdown we had was the deepest we threw, I think. And then I can talk about this for an hour. I'm not going to. But you make this huge big trade, and you have Ferrari sitting there and DJ Moore, and you target him twice.
Right.
What are we doing here? You don't trade down from the first pick and get all these picks and DJ Moore, who's a stud, and you don't not throw him the ball. When he had 2 catches for 25 yards. 2 catches, 25 yards. It's simple math. Get him the ball, good things happen. Quit throwing the screenplays, do the quick passes, let DJ eat, and then throw it deep.
Bro,
I'm
in a group chat with a bunch of Bears fans, and bro, you're just everything that they've said is
Well, I think their air yards per attempt was like 3.1 or something. It was like they were scared. They were scared of the O-line breaking down before it broke down. They just were like, let's just avoid the problem. But I mean, at the end of the day, you put an extra tight end, put a running back in there to help block. Like you can't win in the NFL with 3.1 air yards per attempt. You got to throw it down the field. So I was shocked.
We ran so many screen passes because our offensive line still stinks. Darnell Wright's a rookie. I think he's going to be fine. But Rashawn Gary had him in hell for 4 quarters, essentially. Nate Davis was a turnstile. Bradson Jones, same thing. Cody Whitehair couldn't block anybody. Lucas Patrick, he couldn't either. The offensive line, there's a picture actually of Fields having the ball, reading the field, and all 5 offensive linemen are turned towards him because all the edge rushers are coming towards Fields. You can't win games like that. Now, again, Fields didn't have a good day yesterday. Threw a pick 6, fumbled another one. But to put it all on him is insane. He had a bad game, yes. But to put it all on him when his offensive line is horrible, and Luke Getsy is his offensive coordinator, I can't get along with that. I think personally, if you trade it, like I feel so bad for Fields. I want us to trade him because he'll be good somewhere else. Like I feel bad for the guy. Like I genuinely do.
It's another quarterback with the Bears. It's like, don't ruin them, because they love to do that. So it sucks.
And it's so frustrating. It's
Yeah.
year after year.
I think it'll get better. I do think the Bears are going to have a better year than they did last year. I think they're going to find a way to be a little bit better. It's not a good start. They have the Bucks, I think, next week. So, Tampa Bay did win, but I don't think they're anything special. That could be, that's a winnable game, which all of a sudden you're 1-1. It's a big difference. So,
but if we're 0-2, though, I'm gonna be honest. Bucks are a -3 favorite right now. I was viewing that for a bet for myself this week. Like, I think we're gonna struggle. Like, we have a long road ahead of us to be competent offensively. And my thing is, our pass rush is not great. Our run defense is not great. That makes our secondary look bad. I don't know how we're gonna guard Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I don't know because I'm not worried about our secondary as much as I am. We can't get a pass rush, and they can't hold up forever. Especially against Mike Evans, who's one of the best, go up and get it guys in the league. I'm worried. Yeah. And Kyler Gordon's out now, I'm worried. So now it's Jalen Johnson and rookie Tyreek Stevenson. That makes me nervous for Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that line opened at -1.5 for Chicago, and it's jumped up to -3 for Tampa Bay.
Wow.
Which it should. They look better right now.
That's interesting.
It's not a bad spot to buy low buy low. I don't know.
I agree. Any other games you like this week, Will?
I like Dolphins -2 at Pats. I really do. And I know Pats just had a really close game with the Eagles, and they made a comeback right there. And they could have won it at the end there if Kayshon Boutte gets another foot in. But that Dolphins offense, man, Tua and Tyreek and Jalen Waddle were just humming. There was nothing the Chargers could do. And the Patriots are a lot better. Not a lot better. They're better defensively to me with the rookie Christian Gonzalez, and they have other players that are good. But, man, that Dolphins offense, I think -2 is generous. I think the Dolphins could win by 7 or 10 here. I know it's in at Patriots, but I really like the Dolphins here, -2.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think the defense was – after they went down 16-0, which was just a fluky, crazy start. The defense was great. I mean, the Eagles legitimately had some drives. They were probably, you could say the Eagles were the best offense in the league last year. I don't think that's crazy to say. And they probably had some drives that were you got 1 or 2 yards, then punt, 2 or 3 yards, whatever, punt. They were legitimately, they were stalling. Hurts was trying to get outside the pocket. You saw a lot of speed. They were coming up and tackling him before he could get a couple of yards. I think it's going to be really interesting because the Chargers didn't really have those guys, on the back end of secondary. So I think that's going to be a great game. That's Sunday night. That's the night game, I think. It is going to be interesting because I think Gonzalez is really good. I think they have the safeties. They have a lot of hybrid guys so they're really built for speed. I think it's going to be a great matchup with the Dolphins. I think that's speed on speed. So that's going to be a fun one. I can't – I'm a Pats fan, so I can't – for me, betting on the or against the Pats, I almost bet on the Eagles this week just so it's a win-win, situation.
That's me with Bama, bro.
But, yeah, it's one of those things. So I think that's going to be I think that might be the game of the week, though. I think that's going to be because the Dolphins were that good, man. They were, ridiculous.
Yeah, that's definitely a line I'm watching. I know earlier the money was on New England, but it looks like it shifted for the spread. I'm going to keep watching that one.
Yeah.
Sure. And then I also like the Thursday night game. Speaking of the Eagles, Minnesota. Minnesota with the points. I mean, they always play a close game. I kind of like it. Buy a half point there probably.
What's the spread on that one?
7. Said buy a half point to make it 7.5.
Yeah, I
think Minnesota definitely can keep it close.
Yeah, I think that's.
I like the Eagles here,
especially after getting blown out last year by the Eagles.
I just like the Eagles here.
I'm down on the Vikings this year.
From top to bottom, and that defense. is just unreal. And Jalen Carter week 1 was a madman. Like, he had 8 pressures just by himself. Like, he's such a good player. Now, what makes me hesitant is Nakobe Dean's going to be out for a month with an injury. But so that'd be something to watch right there. I still like the Eagles, though. That Vikings defense is so bad. It's like, it's not good at all.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be interesting. I do think the short week hurts the Eagles because I think they have a lot to fix offensively. Like, they just looked like they weren't ready. But I agree that Eagles defensive line, if they can wreck Kirk Cousins and really like throw him off, like he just didn't look like himself. I don't know if it's another. I feel like a lot of these teams, they just look rusty. Like, I felt that way with the Ravens for a little bit. I felt that way with the Eagles. Like, they don't, a lot of starters aren't playing in the preseason anymore. Maybe that has something to do with it. But if the Eagles do get going, then I think they can roll them. It's just a matter of, we're going to see more rust and unsure play from Hurts. It just looked off from their offense. So if they get that again, I think it's going to be a close game. But if they get rolling, they are a much better team than the Vikings.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. I think the Eagles will struggle a little bit here just because, like you're saying, the offensive play calling looks kind of suspect right now, especially at the beginning of the game. But, I mean, I feel like it all – like, they say Jalen Hurts didn't learn his passing at Alabama. He had to learn it from Lincoln Riley. But he wasn't that good at Oklahoma. So was it Shane Steichen this whole time? Is kind of what I'm thinking about it because, Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert, his coach, one of his coaches, Shane Steichen. Last year, Jalen Hurts went off out of nowhere. Shane Steichen started calling the plays halfway into the season last year.
Yeah.
2 years.
No, it's interesting. It's because they did lose. Yes, they were in the Super Bowl, but you lose your offensive coordinator and your defensive coordinator. It's a lot of change. You never know. So it could be part of it for sure.
My thing is this, though. We know that in week 1, teams that lose the Super Bowl always struggle week 1. Like, this happens every year. Yeah. I think this is one of those games where they struggle, a little Super Bowl hangover. I think they'll be fine week 2. I think they bounce back. I think A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith both have a big game personally. Now, I think Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison need to have a big game too. I think Jordan Addison's also a sleeper pick for Rookie of the Year too. Like, he's going to be good.
I'm wondering if this could be an over game. I know that, as you said, that Eagles, that defensive line they have a lot of guys, but the secondary I think is a little, outside of Darius Slay, there's not really much there. That the Patriots receivers who aren't that good were able to get open in a lot of spots. So it's like, maybe this is an over game. I don't know what the total's sitting at, but this could be one of those things where it's just
48.5.
Big 48.5. So I don't hate it. I think, short week, defensive coordinators might not be as ready. The offenses might be like, hey, we got to get this thing going. Could be an over. So I'm gonna watch that total and the spread, see how it changes over the course of the week. But I'm leaning over. I think it could be a close game, but if the Eagles get going, it's
I would say it is on Amazon Prime, so remember that. Take that as you please. So Thunder's always hit on Amazon Prime, except for once. But another game. Speaking of Super Bowl winner, Kansas City, rough game. I had Detroit, had the under. It was a tough one to sweat out, but I was so happy at the end.
I had the over.
I did have the over too. It was one of those things where it was opening night, and I was like, I can't. Football's back. I can't be hoping for an under. But yeah, obviously, I mean, my heart got the best of me there. I just wanted points, but.
See, I looked at that unit and I was like, no Chris Jones. They were bottom 5 in scoring last year. So was Detroit. I know they added Brian Branch through the draft and a few guys through free agency. But I was just like, this is still not an elite defense by any means. And I didn't think Travis Kelce would have been that big a drop off. If Kadarius Toney didn't have Butterfingers, they probably win that game. The over probably does hit too because they'll probably score a lot more. Do what?
Yeah, I say if he doesn't play, they win. But I will say one thing about that under to keep in mind. If you think the Chiefs are going to lose, go with the under because when the Raiders play. Well, no, the Raiders went over, but when the Colts beat them the last year and
Remember
2
that?
years before when they won every time they won the Super Bowl, the Colts beat them that year. So, but
And
we
it goes
keep
low.
it under. Yep, we keep it under, and we beat them somehow. We squeak it out right at the end, and that's exactly how it was. It was squeaked out right at the end. So that's what I was thinking going into that game.
Yeah.
And then any other games we're looking at this week? I know Cincinnati will be playing the Ravens this week. I could see a bounce back from Cincinnati Bengals here.
I got 2 college ones if you want to flip to that.
Usually we do college on Thursday, but we can do it if you want.
No, it's all good. I got.
I was gonna
Saints.
say. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, like, usually especially week 2, because I think there's a lot of overreaction to certain teams. I like to take teams. You know, there's a strategy that I haven't looked into it for this week. If there's I'm sure there will be a couple games that work for it. Teams that didn't cover last week versus teams that did cover last week. So a team like the 49ers are -8 against the Rams. So the Rams covered too. But there's some lines that look kind of big for a team that covered last week versus a team, going against a team that didn't cover last week. The line's going to be way inflated. So I might look at some, overpriced lines, like just some spots where it's like, it just doesn't look right. So that's what I'm going to look at for this week, at least.
I like it. I guess we'll go ahead and knock out Monday Night Football. We can go ahead and head out of here. We're back, fellas. We got Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight it is the New York Jets or Jersey Jets versus the New York or Buffalo Bills. Sorry, my bad. Tonight I'm probably staying away from from betting on it, but I do like Garrett Wilson to score anytime touchdown at +140. Joey, I talked to you before the show about the over under. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked the updates, but I think I took the under at 44.5. It moved down from 45.5. I think it opened at. I haven't checked the update on the weather situation, but I know that there is some. I don't know if it's just rain. You said there wasn't that much wind, so maybe it doesn't affect that much. But I look at this game and say, Jets have a great defensive line. I think they're really gonna screw up Josh Allen, at least at the beginning. I'm not a big believer in the OC Ken Dorsey at Buffalo. I thought the offense wasn't what it was before when they had Dable there. So
yeah, I agree.
I think they're going to struggle at least out the gate. I think that Sauce Gardner on Diggs. So I'm looking at that side. I think they're going to struggle. And then look, I think people are overrating the Jets wide receivers. Like outside of Garrett Wilson, like I don't think Alan Lazard is really anything you got to worry about. Randall Cobb's getting old. Like I don't think they have, especially with that offensive line. I don't think the Jets offense is going to get going early. I think they're going to struggle too. So I look at this at halftime. I could see this being a 10-3 game type of feel. And then it's just grind it out, see who can come out on top. So I'm good with the under. I think it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah, man, yes. I'm with you on the under bid time. Like, I understand they had Zach Wilson last year, but in the 2 Bills-Jets games, it finished 2017 and then 2012, which are both well under the under. And I understand you added Aaron Rodgers in the offseason, but it's still going to take a while for that group to, like, gel together. Because, yes, they've practiced together. Yes, they've had training camp and played other teams through practice and stuff like that. But until you get in an actual game, you don't know what this guy's going to do in that moment when he's actually being guarded by somebody that wants to make him, like, drop the ball and try to intercept it. You just don't know. So that's why and they're both top 5 scoring defenses last year. They're both excellent defenses. I think this is a low-scoring game, and if I'm going to give out a prediction, I think the Bills do end up winning this because I saw a stat that said away teams for this week are a 13-3. I know 12-3 straight up and against the spread for this week. So I saw that. So I'm riding with the Bills. I'm going to say Bills 21-17. I think it'll be close. I think the Bills do win, and the under hits pretty far, pretty good.
Yeah,
I like it. I think I'm gonna jump on that under train with you guys. I just took it. I put a unit and a half on there. So let's root for the under, and then
And I am leaning Bills too, but I think it's just too tough to. I think it's too tough to. I'm not gonna take it because it's just too tough to pick between these teams. Week one, but the under for sure. Yeah.
That's why I stayed away from that. I put money on the under 45 too. I stayed away from Bills 2.5 or money line. I just wasn't sure, so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go with the under.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys got tonight?
Nope, I'm good.
That's it. Maybe I'll take that Garrett Wilson anytime too. We'll see. Because like I said, that there's really no other receivers that I'm like excited about with the Jets. So I might.
Plus
they're in the red zone.
Good spot.
Yeah. No, I might take that Garrett Wilson.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and play our outro.
Whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.